Hello, today is Tuesday, August 29th, 2017. I'm Sharon Dingus, and I'm here to share with you another ray of light. I'm coming to you from Acres for Art and Enlightenment, home of AwakeningLight.net and Red Dog Creations Art Studio. Well, it's late in the day, probably about, about 8:45 Mountain Daylight Time, so it's been a long day. But the good news, at least as far as the journey on my life path, is I'm back on the road again, and I am in Pocatello, I believe that's the right name, Idaho. It's home of Idaho State University. Who knew? It's on Interstate 15. So I drove down from Missoula to Pocatello today, and thought I was getting here early, and I did get in about 6 o'clock, and I had a laugh as I spent a little time. It's been a while since I've backed the South, the camper, my studio on wheels, and I assumed that I probably amused a few folks. No one was out and about that was paying attention, at least that I could see, but it took me a couple tries to then get everything right into the slot and get everything hooked up. Air conditioning, I've got the air conditioner off just because it's small camper, a little loud. The great news is it cools things down very well. But right now it might get a little warm in here. So if you see me steaming up or sweating, it's probably because it's getting warm in here. It was very interesting. So yesterday had the wonderful opportunity to go to Glacier National Park with a good friend. And we enjoyed driving driving to the Sun Road. And I mentioned that we spent more time driving and seeing everything along the way rather than taking the time, because we didn't have a lot of time. We didn't plan a lot of time to do that trip. But what was beautiful is we had the ability to see part of a glacier. I believe it was in 1815, I think that was, or 1815 or 1850, where they had photos of when the glacier was first photographed. And then each year, as they've been taking photographs, the glacier recedes. So you can see it coming down between the mountain peaks and then this glacier. So between the receding of the glacier and then the smoke from the fires that were going on, things are obscured. You could see up that way was a glacier, and apparently there are 25 different glaciers in Glacier National Park, and this happened to be one of them. So one of the things that's always fascinated me about geology and geography is when you take a look at what happens with glaciers. And if you happen to believe in the Ice Age and glaciers, the work that glaciers can do is just incredible. The boulders that are bigger than my camper, which isn't huge, but it's still big, that are just dropped along the path. The ravines that are carved out, this amazing geology and landscape that comes from glaciers. But we all, I think, joke around about things happening at glacial speed. So they don't happen very quickly. They move very slowly, but they can be very profound. And the depth, the etching from the glacier when it has rocks and boulders stuck underneath, as it moves across the landscape, it'll put grooves into the rocks that are there. So you can, when you take a look at rocks and formations, and if you know that a glacier had been through there, you can actually see these striations that were formed by the glacier and its movement over the eons, the thousands and tens of thousands and many millennia of, and I'm going to get the number of years wrong, but it's not fast. Today, as I was driving down, and it took quite some time before I could actually breathe without smelling smoke. Now, I love a bonfire, but I don't love the smell of forests burning. So, unfortunately, Montana has quite a few fires going on right now, and it was with me through most of the state of Montana. But it cleared up in time for me to enjoy a very interesting formation in Blackfoot. And have you ever had the opportunity to go past lava fields? go to Hawaii, you have the lava, you have volcanoes. It's an active lava field, and you see these spectacular formations, the glowing molten rock, and just things incinerating in its path. Parts of the United States, the continental, the contiguous 48 states, were also formed by volcanic activity thousands and more years ago. I did not realize that Interstate 15 would go past lava fields. So I'm driving along, and I've been looking at mountains and looking at the terrain and everything else that was going on, and then was very fascinated to see that over on my right was this amazing lava field that apparently had solidified, the basalt, about 2,000-3,000 years ago. And what was really spectacular, and I believe it was called Hell's Half Acre, and it's a section next to one of the rest areas where you can get out, and they have mapped out either a 1/4 mile wheelchair accessible or a 1/2 mile more rugged path where you can go through and you can see these amazing the amazing formations that come from lava. And this is just a small portion of the lava fields that are there. And it's just amazing when you see the stark reality of lava fields and these crevices, and they're 20-30 feet deep, at least in the section where this was, and the plant life, the sage that is coming back, and it's green, interspersed with the lava and the rock formations. Very spectacular. And so what's funny to me is I take a look at the cards, and I keep looking down my hands because I'm holding the cards, is this guy, the tower. I look at this, and this was in the earth position, and it's a lightning strike, right? The forest fires, the lightning strike of the fire. Then I get Father of Wands. Here's a lightning strike again. Oh, and by the way, let's grab an 8 of Wands, and here's a lightning strike. So what's so funny to me is it has seemed to me that, and I suspect that many of us are in the same situation, is certain parts of life move with excruciating glacial speed. And I don't think it's a coincidence when we talk about putting things on ice. We're cooling them down, we're freezing them, we're slowing them down. And at the same time, there are other parts of your life that just explode. So, here are those 3 cards where it's the lightning strike, it's that bolt of fire, it's that energy. And it's been so interesting as I hit back on the road today, right? I can actually move a little bit in the sow today. I'm still not going to scare the heck out of you by showing you the inside of the sow, because it still is a work in progress. But what is exciting and frustrating at the same time is things are moving along. I know where I want them to go, and they're getting there. But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, could I be moving any more slowly? And then in the same breath almost, I feel like saying, just wait a second, we're moving too fast. Because it's a combination of certain things take time to develop, and certain things need to be addressed right away. So part of it, getting to the campground, getting set up, cooling down the campsite, or cooling down the camper, getting comfortable, all of that moved quickly because I needed it to move quickly, just because of the timing of things. Because tomorrow morning I want to get up. I need to get about another 450 miles behind me, and Mighty Maya, who's sleeping on the bed right now, she's not a dumb dog. She knows when to relax, and she knows I'll take care of things. So there's the glacial speed of things, and then there's the rapid fire. And what I may end up doing is, just so I don't feel like my hair is on fire, is tomorrow, even though I'll be within 400 and some miles of my final destination, I'll be toying with and contemplating, would it make sense to give myself 2 days at this campsite that I'm going to stop at tomorrow? It looks like it's going to be an absolute beautiful one. and it's called the West Zion, so it's within a couple of hours of numerous parks, glorious parks, and I don't intend to partake in those. What I need to do is just simply get there, get situated, and then just hunker down, because I'm confident that once I arrive at my destination, knowing me and how I am, I'll want to unload right away. I'll want to get things taken care of right away. It's been several months since I've been there, and I need to do, right? You can't stop. Well, some of us can't stop, and I suspect those of you watching this, and I thank you for watching this, that it's highly likely that you find yourself in that same situation. So what I'm finding to be an interesting challenge is getting that blend between the fire and ice. So how do you have enough fire but not so much that you burn yourself up? And how do you have enough ice but not so much that you move at a glacial speed? So that is one of the lessons that I am taking forward here, is to move at a speed that's fast enough to get me there without overwhelming me. And I know darn well that there will be times that I'll hold on by my fingernails, and there will be other times that I'll be tapping my toe, wondering when things are going to move forward. So I guess that's patience. And that's the interesting thing about the three of these other cards that are in the spread. We have the Father of Wands, who is very steady and very centered during times of chaos. We have the reverse Mother of Swords, and she's very calm and all-knowing. And if I was going to read this simply from my own perspective, it's a woman going through quite a few changes. But at the same time, there's a bigger message here. It's simply sitting back, understanding that everything will work out. We are getting there. And then what's really amazing is we have this beautiful Mother of Cups. And she's very psychic and intuitive, and whereas the Mother of Swords, that owl, is more of a teacher, the Swan, the Mother of Cups, is more of an intuitive and psychic. And that's the part of my life that I start losing when I get too crazy with everything, when I neglect that time to meditate, the time to focus and spend time with myself. Give myself that downtime, that headspace. And even though I do go within as I drive, especially on these long stretches of road where there's not a lot of traffic and it's fairly straight, I do try to place myself in a very centered, heart-centered space. But it's still not the same as that calm and quiet. So again, balancing the fire and the ice, and in between is getting that calm. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I send you blessings, love, and light as you go about your day.